Captain Jack Frost stood at attention in the airlock of the Coalition diplomatic vessel, mentally rehearsing his greeting. First contact with alien civilization, humanity's proudest moment. The culmination of centuries of wondering if we were alone in the universe. "Don't screw this up," he muttered to himself, adjusting his dress uniform. Smile, extend hand, speak clearly. The airlock hissed open, revealing a delegation of aliens. Jack's diplomatic training kicked in as he catalogued their appearances. The foremost alien was tall and willowy with iridescent fur and 4 arms. Behind it stood a collection of beings that looked like evolutionary experiments. One resembled a bipedal gazelle, another a humanoid rabbit, and a third reminded Jack of a walking mushroom with eyes. Jack smiled broadly. "On behalf of Earth and humanity, I extend greetings and friendship to the Galactic Coalition." The aliens screamed in unison, backing away from him, a gazelle like being actually fainted. Jack froze, smile still plastered on his face. Did I say something wrong?" The 4-armed alien trembled visibly. You bared your teeth at us. Are you threatening consumption?" "What? No." Jack quickly closed his mouth. "It's a smile. A friendly gesture." The alien delegation huddled together, whispering urgently. The lead alien, who introduced himself as Ambassador Vril, cautiously approached again. "Your species possesses frontal-cutting teeth?" Vril asked, maintaining a safe distance. "Yes, incisors and canines. We're omnivores." Jack was confused. "Don't you have teeth?" "We have grinding surfaces for vegetation," Vril explained. "The only species with piercing teeth are predators." "Well, technically humans evolved from predatory primates, but—" The delegation erupted in chaos again. The mushroom being produced a small device and began scanning Jack frantically. Elevated heart rate, forward-facing eyes, canine teeth. The mushroom squealed, and look at those hands. Perfect for grasping prey. Jack sighed. This was going to be a long diplomatic mission. Would it help if I just kept my mouth closed when I talk? "Escort?" he asked. The rabbit-like alien fainted, joining the gazelle on the floor. "The human species must be quarantined immediately." Ambassador Vril's voice echoed through the Coalition Council chamber. "They are apex predators with military capabilities." Jack sat in what amounted to a reinforced aquarium, watching the proceedings with growing irritation. The council chamber resembled a mix between a botanical garden and a UN meeting room, with representatives from 50 species arrayed in concentric circles. Not one of them looked remotely predatory. The Coalition overseer, a being named Plumner who resembled a giant purple dandelion, floated to the center of the chamber. "Let us not be hasty. Captain Frost has shown no aggression." "He consumes the flesh of other beings," Bill insisted. "Their entire civilization is built upon dominance hierarchies and resource competition." Actually, Jack interjected through the chamber's communication system. "We've largely moved beyond that. Our society values cooperation and—" "It's trying to lull us into a false sense of security," shrieked the slug-like counselor. "Classic predator behavior." Jack rubbed his temples. "Look, if we wanted to conquer you, we wouldn't have sent a single human in a diplomatic vessel." This triggered another 20 minutes of hysteria. Jack slumped in his chair, wishing he'd paid more attention in xenobiology class. No one had prepared him for a galaxy full of prey species. Eventually, Overseer Plumner restored order. "I propose a compromise. Captain Frost will remain as a cultural ambassador, allowing us to study human behavior in a controlled setting. In return, we will establish preliminary trade relations with Earth." "And if he tries to eat anyone?" Vril demanded. "I'm on a vegetarian diet," Jack volunteered. "Yes. Promise." The council reluctantly agreed, and Jack found himself assigned quarters in the Coalition's central habitat. As he unpacked his belongings under the watchful eyes of 6 security drones, he couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of his situation. First human in space to be classified as an invasive predator species, he recorded in his log. Mom would be so proud. "And this is a traditional Earth meal?" Dr. Quivley asked. recording device hovering over Jack's lunch tray. Jack nodded, taking a bite of his salad. Just plants. See? Completely herbivorous. Dr. Quively was one of the Coalition's leading xenobiologists, resembling a cross between a deer and a butterfly. She had been assigned to study Jack's behavior, a task she approached with equal parts scientific curiosity and nervous trembling. Yet your species regularly consumes muscle tissue from other life forms? She pressed, staying beyond what she clearly considered lunging distance. Historically, yes. But I'm not going to eat you, if that's what you're worried about. Dr. Quively's antennae flattened against her head. The concept is horrifying. No species in the Coalition evolved as predators. The very idea of consuming another sentient being. We don't eat sentient beings, Jack protested, just non-sentient animals, and even that's becoming less common with synthetic options. Their conversation was interrupted by a delegation of Coalition diplomats entering the cafeteria. Jack recognized Ambassador Vril among them, along with representatives from several other species he'd been introduced to. Deciding to make a good impression, Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out an apple he'd been saving for a snack. He smiled, with his mouth closed, and took a large bite. The sound of his teeth breaking through the apple skin echoed through the suddenly silent cafeteria. Juice dribbled down his chin as he chewed. Every alien in the room froze, staring in horror. One by one, they began backing away. What? Jack asked, mouth full. It's just an apple. Ambassador Vril pointed a trembling limb. You bit into it. With your predator teeth, and its fluids are on your face. Jack looked down at his apple, then back at the terrified aliens. It's fruit. Plants. Veggie stuff. Your kind of food. We process our plant matter into pastes and powders. Sinitskinso. Thus, Dr. Quively explained, her voice rising hysterically. We don't savagely tear into them with cutting teeth. The apple incident, as it came to be known, set human Coalition relations back several weeks. Jack found himself subjected to a battery of psychological tests, all seemingly designed to assess his predatory instincts. Please watch this simulation and tell me what you see, a Coalition psychologist instructed, displaying a moving dot on a screen. A dot, Jack replied flatly. You don't feel an urge to chase it? To pounce upon it? Jack sighed. I'm not a cat. Or buses. In his private quarters, Jack recorded his increasingly sarcastic observations, day 47 in the alien zoo. Today they tested my stalking capabilities by having me play hide and seek. I'm starting to think these prey species believe all predators share a single brain cell. Jack was enjoying a rare moment of peace, attempting to explain the concept of soccer to a fascinated Dr. Quively, when the emergency alarms began blaring throughout the Coalition station. Central habitat. This is Outpost Zeta 9. We're under attack by unknown entities. They're consuming our people. The station erupted into chaos as reports flooded in from across Coalition space. Jack followed Dr. Quively to the command center, where Overseer Plumner and Ambassador Vril were frantically coordinating responses. What's happening? Jack asked. Ravagers, Plumner replied grimly. A space-borne parasitic species. They attach to ships, follow them back to populated areas, and then feed. The view screen showed chaotic footage from various Coalition worlds. Amorphous shadows moved with terrifying purpose, engulfing screaming civilians. How do you usually defend against them? Jack asked. Vril's appendages twisted nervously. We hide, we evacuate. We sacrifice outlying settlements to save core worlds. Jack stared at them in disbelief. You just run away? You don't fight back? We are not predators, Plumner stated simply. Our species evolved to flee from danger, not confront it. We have no instinct for combat. Jack watched the footage more carefully. These ravagers, they're hunting. Look at the pattern. They're herding people into confined spaces. The Coalition leaders looked at him blankly. It's a predator tactic, he explained. They're not just randomly attacking. They're strategizing. A new alert sounded. The Ravagers have breached the SETI perimeter. They'll reach central habitat within days. Ambassador Vril turned to Jack with obvious reluctance. You understand these creatures. You think like them. I think like a human, Jack corrected. But yes, I understand predator behavior patterns. And I know how to fight back. Would your species assist us? Plumner asked. Jack smiled, forgetting to hide his teeth. I'll make the call. The Coalition representatives watched in stunned silence as the human military vessels deployed. Jack stood proudly on the command deck, now wearing an Earth Defense Force uniform instead of his diplomatic attire. They're so angular, Dr. Quively whispered, staring at the approaching ships, like they were designed to inflict harm. They were, Jack confirmed. Those are battlecruisers. The human fleet took up defensive positions around the Coalition habitat. Admiral Helena Vega's face appeared on the main view screen, her expression serious. Captain Frost, she greeted. I understand we're dealing with space parasites that eat people. Very charming. The Ravagers have consumed 3 Coalition worlds already, Jack reported. They don't seem to understand the concept of organized resistance. Well, they're about to get a crash course in human warfare, Admiral Vega replied. We've analyzed their movement patterns. Yeah, they hunt like pack predators, similar to wolves. We can use that against them. The Coalition leaders looked increasingly uncomfortable as the humans discussed combat tactics. You speak of fighting as though it's natural, Ambassador Vril observed. For humans, it is, Jack explained. Our earliest ancestors were both predator and prey. We had to develop strategies to hunt and to avoid being hunted. It's in our DNA. When the Ravager swarm arrived, the human fleet was ready. Instead of fleeing, the Earth ships engaged directly, using themselves as bait to lure the parasites into tactical traps. Jack led a mixed team of human Marines and Coalition volunteers on a mission to the Ravager command node. The Coalition species were visibly terrified but determined to learn. Watch how they move, Jack instructed his alien teammates. They telegraph their attacks. They expect you to run, not fight. A Ravager lunged at one of the Coalition volunteers, a gazelle like Elbani named Trisk. Instinctively, Trisk froze in terror. Don't freeze, Jack shouted. Counterattack, use your hooves. And to everyone's surprise, Trisk did exactly that, lashing out with his powerful legs. The Ravager was knocked backward, stunned by the unexpected resistance. I struck it. Trisk exclaimed in shock. I didn't flee. Turns out, prey species can fight when they need to, Jack grinned. You just need to find your inner predator. As the battle progressed, the Coalition species began to shed their ingrained helplessness, following the humans' lead in tactical resistance. The Ravagers, faced with prey that fought back, grew confused and disorganized. Admiral Vega's voice crackled over the comm. Captain, we've located their central hive. One final push, and we can end this. Jack looked at his team, a mix of human predators and alien prey standing side by side. Let's go hunting. 3 months after the Ravager threat was eliminated, Jack Frost stood before the Coalition Council again. This time, instead of a reinforced aquarium, he addressed them from the speaker's podium, wearing a new uniform with the insignia of the Joint Earth Coalition Defense Force. The Ravager remnants have been driven back to the Outer Rim, he reported. Early warning systems are in place, and Coalition Defense Forces are receiving training from human military advisors. Overseer Plumner floated forward. Captain Frost, or should I say, Commander Frost, your species has proven itself to be a valuable ally. We misjudged you based on your evolutionary history. Being predator evolved doesn't make us mindless killers, Jack pointed out. It gives us perspective you lack. We understand both the hunter and the hunted. Indeed, Ambassador Vril agreed, considerably less nervous than before, and we have much to learn from each other. Your predatory instincts, tempered by your capacity for empathy, proved to be our salvation. Jack smiled, no longer hiding his teeth, and your cooperative society, free from predator-prey competition, as much to teach us about harmonious coexistence. The council chambers erupted in applause, or the various species equivalents, ranging from tentacle waving to spore releasing. Later, Jack sat in what had become his favorite spot on the station, a viewing deck overlooking the starfield. Dr. Quively joined him, noticeably more comfortable in his presence than she had been initially. The first Human Coalition Cultural Exchange Program has received over 1 million applications, she informed him. Your predator consciousness seminars are particularly popular. Jack laughed. Never thought I'd be teaching alien bunnies how to growl. And I never thought I'd be learning to. What did you call it? Tap into my inner lioness, Quively replied with a small laugh of her own. The galaxy's a funny place, Jack mused. Turns out, the most dangerous predators aren't the ones with sharp teeth, but the ones who never learned how to fight back. An alert chimed on Jack's communicator. Earth Defense Force requesting your presence, Commander. It seems the Ravagers have attacked a mining colony in the Procyon sector. Jack stood, stretching. Time to go hunting again. I want to come along. Dr. Quively hesitated only briefly before nodding. I believe I would. I'd been practicing my war face. That's the spirit, Jack grinned. Just remember what I taught you. Eyes forward, teeth bared, and never, ever run, Quively recited solemnly. As they walked toward the docking bay, Jack couldn't help but marvel at how much had changed. Humanity, once feared for its predatory evolution, had become the galaxy's protector. And the prey species of the Coalition were learning that sometimes the best defense wasn't running away, but standing your ground and showing your teeth. Even if they were just flat, herbivore teeth. Jack made a mental note for his next transmission to Earth, humanity's first role in galactic society, teaching bunnies how to bite back. Mom would definitely be proud.